Motion made by Director Webb. Do I have a second? Second by Director Wood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Minutes. That would be the April 7th wastewater committee meeting, the April 23rd regular board meeting, and the April 24th emergency preparedness ad hoc meeting. Do I have a motion to approve M1 through M3? Motion made by Director Glynn. Do I have a second? Second made by Director Wood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Public hearing, annual budget adoption. Presenter, District Finance Consultant, Sadie Greenwald. From Ed Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
Hi, Bailey. Sorry.
That's all right.
That's how it's good. Hi, Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
A, public hearing regarding the adoption resolution number 2025-2. Number 1, opening of public hearing.
All right.
Yes.
So we are going to pause a moment. Just hang on, please, Sadie.
Okay.
We'll be right.
Sadie, can you hear us here?
I can.
Okay, go ahead and reel that.
I'm gonna hang this up.
Thank you.
All right, do we still need these on, right?
Yeah, go ahead and leave this up.
Okay.
Okay. The public hearing is open. And a brief presentation by district staff.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have Sadie Greenwald to provide a presentation. Unless I'm supposed to do it, Sadie.
Nope, I'm ready. I was just waiting to get the go ahead.
Awesome.
All right. Good evening, members of the board. The district is going into its 5th and final year of the 2021 rate study. Year-to-date analysis indicates that the district is operating well within expectation of the rate study. The water and sewer budgets before you this evening are based primarily on that rate study. The streetlight budgets are based on a preliminary engineer's report, which will come before you in a future meeting for consideration and adoption. The remaining budgets are based on a combination of trend analysis of prior year's actual activity and forecasts of future needs. In an effort to rebuild the reserves, while continuing to have sufficient financial resources to carry out the programs and capital projects within the district, the rate study forecasted an approximate operating surplus of $1,403,361 in fiscal year 2025-2026. This approach is intended to smooth the impact of the rate increases while simultaneously getting the district's reserves replenished over the 5-year study period. The budget before you, however, is a balanced budget. This is the result of better than expected year-to-date actuals in fiscal year 2024-2025 and the carryover savings. For fiscal year 2025-2026, the district proposes operating budget revenues of $18,453,140 and operating expenditures of $15,989,763 and proposes utilizing $4,678,556 from its reserves. Also before you this evening is the draft capital budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. Having transitioned to what is known as a pay-go capital budget, the district has included the maximum amount of $2,500,000 of the expected $2,500,000 with $1 million for water projects and $1,500,000 for sewer projects. This proposed budget will have the following impacts on reserves. A total increase to the general fund reserves of $527,395, with an increase of $527,395 to the general fund reserve. A total decrease to the water fund reserves of $932,623, with a decrease of $135,723 to the operations and maintenance reserve, an increase of $1,188,618 to the debt service reserve, an increase of $45,031 to the rate stabilization reserve, a decrease of $165,303 from other unrestricted cash, a total decrease to the sewer fund reserves of $6,229,958, with an increase of $1,377,120 to the debt service reserve, a decrease of $1,162,274 to the repair and replacement reserve, an increase of $61,448 to the rate stabilization reserve, a decrease of $6,506,252 to other unrestricted cash, a total increase to the LAD number 2 reserves of $91,384. As a reminder, a budget is a flexible document. It is meant to serve as a roadmap for the expected sources and uses of financial resources over the course of a fiscal year. It is based on the best, most current economic information available at that date. But, like any forecast, circumstances can change, and district staff will continue to monitor both the economic and legal landscapes. We will continue to practice conservative fiscal prudence and will keep you informed of actual performance as the fiscal year unfolds. Thank you again for the opportunity to present the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating and capital budgets. This concludes my portion of the presentation, and I would like to turn it over to the General Manager to present the details of the CIP budget.
Thank you, Sadie. I did have a question on something in your report. You mentioned the receipt of an engineering report. Are you talking about just getting confirmation of some of the capital budget items? I think that's what you meant.
The preliminary engineer's report is for the streetlight budgets.
Oh, okay, so for the LID budget?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Well, we had a workshop this last time. It has not changed from the workshop. We do have, just FYI, we do have some other items that we're pursuing. Talked about those, about the sludge, our sludge project. What staff is recommending is that we adopt the budget as is. And then when we firm up what our plan is for financing that project, that we will come back for a budget adjustment, and then make that budget that recommendation a budget adjustment, because we're not ready to do that. We need to adopt this budget so they can get the data into the system, and we can start switching over. So with that, I would like to conclude the staff report, and then your next item would be to receive public testimony.
All right, thank you. I'd like to open the floor to proceed to public testimony. There's one phone number we don't recognize. If they would like to speak, they'll need to hit *6 to unmute. If you'd like to speak, please press *6 to unmute. Okay, not hearing any public testimony. I'm now closing the public hearing. It is 6:11 p.m.
Sir, are we gonna have a chance to address it, just close the public side of it? Would directors have a chance to?
Please.
The only question I have, Mr. Jam, and again, I think these numbers are conservative. We discussed it before. When that zero emission vehicle, is that number with grants that we can get, or is that a number that you just think we're going to go out and purchase one at the $50,000 mark? Is that what maybe grants to help offset the cost, or is that just a?
No, that's going to be a purchase. That did not account for any grants in
Okay.
for that purchase.
Part two to this one. Is that a conservative number?
Yes.
Very.
Well, I think we have 50,000 on both, and we're talking about purchasing one vehicle.
Yeah, okay. And then the other one, and I know you've already addressed this, that a chromium treatment capital project at 1.4.
Yeah.
That's probably the unknown variable in your whole budget. I'm gonna maybe ask you.
That's surprisingly enough, we have a few more. that, we're getting updated numbers. So, what we're gonna try to do is try to do one budget adjustment.
Okay.
And we won't be able to spend, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
that amount of money in
In one
one
whack.
in one whack. So we're gonna firm up some numbers, and then we'll come back and do a budget adjustment.
Gotcha.
So sometime mid-year, but it won't be mid-year, it'll probably be early in the year.
Dave, to be honest, I appreciate what you guys have done. And on that zero emission vehicle, because of the popularity they are, that when you start looking at it, at least, I know you will look for offset from grants, whatnot, or whatever to help us with that there. But thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Anybody else? All right. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2025-2, the annual budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026?
So moved.
Motion made by Director Wood. Do I have a second?
Yes, second, sir. Sorry.
Second by Director Webb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Move along. New business, NB1, approval of resolution 2025-3 to provide for the collection of water and sewer base fees through the tax roll of Kern County. Presenter, Tim DeVigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is our annual, this is the resolution you adopt annually to place the water base rate and sewer base rates on the tax roll. There should be a long list of APNs and both amounts attached to the resolution. This is something that has been happening since 2020. It is a very successful means of collecting the fees for the district. It is recommended that by motion you adopt resolution 2025-3 so we can submit our tax roll to the county.
Discussion. Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve NB1?
Well moved.
Motion made by Director Glenn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Director Wood. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. NB2, approval of resolution number 2025-4, adopting and initiating proceedings for the levy and collection of assessments for the landscape and lighting assessment district number 2 for fiscal year 2025-2026. Presenter Kim DeVigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I'm requesting that you take items NB2 and NB3 together.
Okay, please, sir. They're just two different districts.
They're the same district. They're the same district. It's just there's two resolutions. One's adopting the initiating proceedings. The other one's adopting the declaration of intention to levy. So there's two different resolutions. So this is the lighting and landscape district that allows the district to collect the fees that are used to pay for the power bills for the lights. So this is the vehicle that, quite frankly, the district serves just as a pass-through. We really don't get any revenues from it, but it serves to pay the energy bills. So the recommendation is to approve both. Take separate motions, please. For 2025-4, and then a separate motion and vote on 2025-5.
Okay. Discussion. All right, do I have a motion to approve NB2? Motion made by Director Wood. Do I have a second?
Second, Director Webb.
Second, Director Webb. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion passed 5-0. NB3. Do I have a motion to approve NB3?
So moved.
Motion made by Director Wood. Do I have a second? Second, Director Glennon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed 5-0. NB4, disposal of surplus equipment - e-waste. Presenter, Kim DeVigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. From time to time, devices that have been used by the district are retired because they become obsolete. You have a list there in the staff report: 3 iPads, 3 iPhones, and 1 HP laptop. Staff has followed the surplus equipment policy, which is District Policy 8001.1. And it requires that we obtain the book value from the district's account, which is zero all the way across. So we're declaring this as e-waste. So we're asking by motion for you to approve the disposal of the surplus equipment, including the method of disposal, which will be done legally.
Discussion. All right, do I have a motion to approve NB4?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Vice President Washington. Do I have a second? Second, Director Greg Wood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. NB5, approval of resolution 2025-6, designating a board member and alternate to serve as district's representative on the Southern California Water Bank Authority. Presenter, Kim Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the district entered into a joint powers agreement with what is now the Southern California Water Bank Authority. And it's an alignment that aligns us with Semi-Tropic and a private entity as well to operate the two different water banks. One that's Semi-Tropic basically operates, and the one that Sayan operates, and we maintain. Now, in the joint powers agreement, the district has one vote on the 5-member board. And historically, it's been your general manager that's been the director, and then board member has been the alternate. Currently, it's Director Glennon is the alternate. And because of scheduling difficulties, I spoke with Director Glennon and thought it'd be a good idea to designate another board member as the alternate. Historically, Director Glennon has been attending even as an alternate, but we only have one vote when voting matters come up. So the recommendation, but I will tell you, although my recommendation is keep the general manager as your director, you certainly don't have to do that. I just want to make that clear. But the recommendation would be to keep the general manager as the director and then nominate and vote on someone to include in the resolution, because I have a attached resolution, someone to include in the resolution as the designated alternate.
Okay.
Those meetings are right now quarterly, and they're on Wednesday mornings at 9 o'clock.
Was that an in-person, Byron, or?
No, that's phone.
Oh, okay.
It's a Teams.
Okay, gotcha.
I would likely be considered for that role.
Any other discussion? All right.
Make a motion to keep our general manager as the voting member and our director Brady as the alternate. In the 5 days we're working there.
Good.
Because there have been times over the years when general manager couldn't be there and we needed our presidents to have a forum. And it really irritates them when I mean once a quarter. Can't get a forum.
All right. Motion made by Director Glennon to have General Manager Domingo as the primary director and then Director Greg Wood as the alternate. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Director Rick Webb. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes.
Can I say something before we move on?
Please.
You know, I was here with Director Glenn when the water bank was formed, and personally, I'm kind of sad that Director Glenn has the scheduling conflict, because there is nobody on this board that knows the water bank more than Director Glenn. And you've done a great job out there, and they have some big shoes to fill.
Right now, there's not much happening. Go on, but hopefully there will be in the near future. Yeah.
Thank you. NB6, approval of resolution 2025-7, placing in nomination Byron Glennon as a board member of the Association of California Water Agencies Region 7. Presenter Kim Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Director Glennon has been an aqua representing director of the district for the past 20 years and has served as on the board, the Region 7 board for the past 5. I spoke with him about, I actually happen to be on the nominating committee. So I spoke with him about, again, submitting his name for nomination. He's agreed to be nominated. So I'm asking the board to, this resolution that nominates him.
Discussion. Hearing none, do I have a motion to nominate Byron Glennon as the board member for the Association of California Water Agencies Region 7?
Are we taking the nomination? I mean, are we gonna discuss beforehand or? I just have one comment to make.
Please.
I would ask that as time moves on, that I'm noticing throughout the different conferences I'm going to, I keep seeing the same people sitting on the same spots. You don't get growth that way, my personal opinion. So Byron, you're right, you've been there for a while, doing a good job. But if it comes up next year this time, I'd ask us to consider someone else because do things to get growth that way by having someone else. And you free that person's obligations up because people tend to not say no when we ask them things out of obligation to us. So I'd ask that to be considered for next time around because we have other board members, not saying myself, but we have other board members that could probably be considered for some of these whatever.
Well, a good point, Director Webb, and it's a 2-year term, so just so you're aware.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because one of the things we keep talking about, you don't change if you keep doing the same thing. And Byron's a professional and a half. And Byron does things for us, but I would argue, just like I said before, everyone should get a chance to do something different and let other people do the different things just from a continuity and growth standpoint. So, but I'm good with the nomination.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Director Glenn for the Region 7 board.
Motion made by Director Webb. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Director Wood. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right, MB7, approval of task order 2025-1 with Rincon for the preparation of California Environmental Quality Act documentation for the wastewater treatment plant monitoring well project. Presenter Kim Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is related to the CEQA documentation for the monitoring well project. These are the monitoring wells that are in our current order to monitor the groundwater quality as a result of percolation ponds at the wastewater plant. It's taken a while to identify the scope of what the document is going to look like, whether the complexity of the document based on they did some initial surveys of biota, the flood zones, the cultural resources. They carefully defined the project and did surveys of the pathways to get to the monitoring wells, plus the sites themselves. So they have determined that we will have, it's anticipated it will be a mitigated negative declaration, so it's not a full study, which is great, but it will take some additional work. This task order, since we've got Rincon's under a master services agreement, this task order will authorize them to prepare the documents, submit them to the state clearinghouse. The amount is a time and materials fee not to exceed $19,564. Recommend approval.
Thank you. Discussion.
Yeah, Kim, how far out are we having to place our monitoring wells now?
I don't have a diagram here, but let's see if I can tell you. One is right by the entrance to the treatment plant on the east side of the tracks. The road on Patterson going into the,
Okay,
that's one. The second one is south along our property. That's about the, it's about the southern boundary of our property to the south. And then the last one is north of the old carbon black plant, north of that, and over to the, still again on the east side of the tracks. It's in that location. They're trying to capture, I think they're trying to capture one, background flow, or flow the other direction for Creighton Mountain.
are you anticipating that Lehigh may expand their sphere of influence as far as the monitoring wells in the future? I know they talked about that they may just place them further and further out just to make sure that there's no groundwater degradation, but they're just, if you anticipate that, is this gonna be it, or could there be more coming in later?
So I can't predict what they're gonna do in the future, but what I can tell you is this. The placement of the monitoring wells is based on a hydrogeologic study done by Kennedy Jenks, which actually sited the wells.
Right.
That's what set the wells in anticipation of the amount of water that's gonna be going in the percolation ponds, and they did a network model to determine where would be the best place to build the monitoring wells. So there have been adjustments to the location because we've been some property owners that haven't been very, these are all, except for one of them, all of them are off property, off-site. So we've had difficulty getting cooperation from out of town. This particular owner was actually in Florida. It's very tough to get a response from them. But to answer your question, they could always ask us to do more. Yeah. But we have a basis for saying this. We believe these three capture enough information to study the impact.
Okay. And when you said the carbon plant, I know how sensitive these wells are, and I mean, even spraying some WD-40 to open the lockup can give you a false reading. And so, but they're in a good area where we're not going to get some contamination in there that could give a false reading of something that's really not happening in the ground.
We won't know. So, for as far as monitoring wells are concerned, once you start taking the samples, you create a background. And once you create the background, then you're basically looking for changes.
Right.
And so, and since we're the only activity, activity that's putting any water in the ground, so we'd be causing whatever the changes are.
Got you. Thank you. That's all I want.
All right, any other discussion? Do I have a motion to approve NB7?
Motion approved.
Motion made by Director Webb. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Director Wood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Director's reports. I would like to start on my right side over to Director Webb.
Thank you, sir. Was at the conference. A lot of good stuff coming out. I think when I go to the conferences, one of the things I'm starting to see that everyone kind of has the same problem. Big agency, little agency. We're all fighting the same kind of battles. Couple of the training sessions I attended, a lot of information is coming out. I was surprised that there's not as much information in the, they're talking about AI as we had anticipated, but they're just talking about districts being aware of their finances as far as people trying to hack them, go after their monies or whatnot. Tomorrow I'm going to be with the GM and share some ideas with him and also Sherry's schedule, if her calendar permits, share some ideas with her. They can, we can kind of put hands around. But ultimately, I would encourage all the board members that when your scheduling permits, get to the conferences, because not only do we bring back things we can share with the general manager, he can share with the staff to research for us, put the district in a good place. It just educates us a little bit more of this vast thing out here, be it wastewater or the water side and all the things going on with it. So I appreciate having an opportunity to go. And that was enjoyable. And then I also, from the community here, I was at a cleanup. They cleaned up along Sierra Highway. It was kind of interesting. They cleaned up along Sierra Highway, and they were worried about people. They left the bin out there, and they were worried about they were going to pick it up the next day. They were worried about getting the bin picked up the next day, so people didn't dump surplus trash in it. The bin's still out there, so I guess that probably, the worry had gone away. But anyway, helping the community is always a good thing. And with that, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Washington. Vice President, I have to do at least one meeting. Vice President Washington.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced its updated plan for addressing PFAS in drinking water. The EPA plan is to issue a proposed rule this fall and finalize a rule in spring of 2026, revising earlier PFAS drinking water standards. A few of the forever chemical contaminant levels will be lowered in this upcoming announcement. Lastly, I want to talk to the community a bit about something that we all are guilty of doing: warming our food up in plastic containers in the microwaves. The reason why this isn't a good idea is because plastics contain a forever chemical known as phthalates. Phthalates are a group of chemicals known as plasticizers that are added to the plastics to make them softer and more flexible. This forever chemical can leach into your food while you're heating it. It's used in a wide range of consumer products and cosmetic care products, food packaging, and medical devices. While some regulations ban this forever chemical in specific products like child toys, they remain prevalent in many other consumer goods. So it's my humble opinion that we not put plastic containers in the microwave unless they are labeled number 5 plastic, kind of like PVC pipe. I'd also recommend storing food in glass containers when possible. This particular chemical has been linked to a 2018 global mortality study that identified 10% of heart disease from this forever chemical. That's all I have. Oh, one more thing here. I'm really excited about some of the work that we're doing in our governmental community committee. I'm not really ready to talk about and roll out what we are talking about, in fact, but something that I think that's really a win-win for everyone involved. So,
Director Washington, I think you could tease them a little bit.
tease them a little bit, huh?
Yeah, we're in a regular meeting. You should tease them a little bit.
Okay, well, we've had some discussions about a water day here at Rosemead Community Service District. This will be focused to 12 young people that have been selected to come out and get a little history of Rcsd, our billing process, how we reclaim water, and then take a tour at the reclamation plant and get a bird's eye view of how water is reclaimed and get a look at those bugs. I think the bugs will be real interesting for the young participants. This will lead into eventually, that I'm hoping, an internship program where we can select 2 individuals, one interested in the administrative side, billing process, customer service strategies, and one on the public work side that really gets a hands-on on what we do out in the field. So those are a couple of things that we're working on. I'm gonna kind of fine tune it here in the next month or 2 and roll it out to you guys. So that's all I have.
Consider myself teased. Director Wood.
Yes, I had the opportunity yesterday to attend, long here, the Kern Cog Cargo Community Prosperity Protection Study Workshop yesterday in the Zoom session. And what it is in a nutshell is that they have been meeting to look at ways to improve traffic flows on the 58 throughout Bakersfield, throughout all of Kern County, and to identify ways to pull traffic, heavy traffic, away from the communities itself and to lessen the impact on the community's roads. And so it's not getting beat up. And Rosamond is in the final selection process for the Rosamond Green Pass Network. And it's a $122 million project. And the total amount of projects right now slated for Kern County come up to $4.2 billion of proposed projects. Now, I do want to add that none of these are funded yet, but they are looking to get them funded and do as many as they can. And for Rosamond, I'm very excited about what they're proposing. Essentially, where the high-speed rail comes through the Antelope Valley and crosses Avenue A, which is out there around Willow Springs and 90th out in that area. When it crosses Avenue A, their plan is to improve Avenue A from where the high-speed rail crosses all the way to 10th Street West. And then they're going to improve 10th Street West all the way to Rosen Boulevard. So we will have that completed road from Rosamond to Avenue A to be able to, for the east side of the community, to finally not be isolated in case of a train derailment or something of that nature. And it's something that the community's been asking for a long time. And at least now it's got a chance of happening because it is this project made the cut. They cut a lot of them out that they were proposed, and this was the final list that they came out with. Out of 12 projects that they presented yesterday, we're number 8 on the list. So that'll be great for us. It'll put a paved road right next to our plant. And so we will have a paved road at the treatment plant there. And let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that it comes to fruition and be good for our community.
Awesome. Thank you, Director Wood. Director Glenn.
The aqua conference that Director Webb went to, I was there, and we bumped into each other a few times. And that's where the Region 7 has their organizational meeting and talks about different issues from the different committees. And one of the benefits not only is the information that you get, just like he said, but the connections you make. And one of the panels I went to, there was a director from Metropolitan Water District that was there. And I went up and wanted to talk to him afterwards and about basically AVAC and everything they're doing with AVAC and the High Desert Water Bank. And found out he's a retired educator. So we spent time talking about that. But I have his number. I don't know if I can call him up and get him anytime I want. But you can develop relationships there, at those particular times. And tying on to this developing relationships, I have a question for Washington. You're talking about a lot of the things that I hear on TV from Kennedy. Have you got a tie into Director Kennedy in Washington, or?
I'm just looking at things objectively.
I have a hard time listening to him because his voice is so raspy, but he sure makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
All right, myself, I was supposed to get my notes out. Apologize. I was so riveted with you guys' updates, I forgot what I was doing. Let me see here. I would like to thank the staff or congratulate them on the Public Works Week last week. Please share my thanks for the hard work that they do. It was the National Public Works Week last week. The other thing I had was I attended the Historical Society meeting last, was it Tuesday? I've slept since then, I don't remember the exact day, and they went over why the old RCSD building was on a triangle road, why it was like that, and then also the missing street that no one knows about in Lancaster called Walnut. So it was pretty neat. It is online. If you take a look at it, actually, I probably can tell you the website right now. 1 second, bear with me. Too many text messages. There it is. Right there on www.kahs1959.org. They had the video up from the speaker, and she spoke for about an hour about not the history of Roseman, but kind of land things that surrounded Roseman. It's pretty neat. Yep. Other than that, I attended the AVIC board meeting last night, and I'll bring those notes up now. Actually, I just took screenshots. That's what I did. Should have been better prepared. I apologize. Yeah, it just looks like today at the Water Master meeting that they were going over the consideration of possible action for the formation of an ad hoc committee for the carryover and storage agreement, which I'm interested in. And then also they talked more about their water banking and how they're currently not water banking with Metropolitan. So that was interesting to me. They have water banked over 50,000 gross total, recoverable 45,000 acre feet. So I thought that was good. Other than that, I think that's it for me. Anybody else got anything to come to mind since then? Nope. Moving on to General Counsel update, John Comar.
Nothing for you tonight, folks.
Thank you, sir. Moving along. General Manager update, Kim Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just going to talk about projects that we're doing that are actually in construction, getting ready to start construction, called the Arsenic Project. We talked about that. Phase 1, probably going to start in another 60 days or so. We're actually turning dirt. I'm bringing on 3 new customers for that project.
I'm sorry, how many more customers?
3 mobile home parks.
Okay.
The sludge storage project, we'll be having that pre-construction meeting here in the next week to start that project. You may have seen the tarp on the roof that we're currently doing. We're re-roofing the mechanical well that caused that leak right there. So hopefully we get that resolved. That's actually happened, but that's going to be done, I think by Friday. And then we don't know if anybody knew this, but we've been looking at getting into the cellular read water meter registers. And we investigated the possibility of doing that for about the last year. And we've actually decided on the Metron meter registers. Cellular read provide 1 minute incremental water use increment saved. We've installed about 137.
They update every minute?
Update every minute. They don't transmit, but they take a reading, have it
I was
read.
gonna say, if they transmit, man, that's gonna kill a battery.
No.
That's exactly.
That's exactly right. And they collect a whole day's worth at the end of the day. That's
After midnight, it transmits.
transmit, starts over again.
How long does you think the battery lasts to transmit once a day?
10 years.
That's pretty good.
Years.
It's pretty
You were saying that on that one, the app, if you get the app for it, it will update the following day.
Yes.
When the customer, on Tuesday, they can get the readings for Monday.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
perfect.
And I think one of the directors might have one of these things on their.
Not only do you have it, sir, job well done. Sherry, let me tell you what I did. It's not a do-it-yourself project, because I found what the leak was, and I got a bigger issue because I started taking things loose. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buy a new toilet. Because I thought it was a flapper, but anyway, the good part, it works, and Sherry said you can almost key it to the device in the house that you have a problem with, correct?
Yeah, they've got a kind of a learning software that kind of learns each service, and they've got we call it a characteristic pattern for different devices that use water, like a shower, like a toilet, like dishwasher, whatever, right? And we can there's an app that we currently have that we're it's a webpage we use. And then there's an app that we think we're gonna be able to roll out to the customers soon that have this.
Great tools, but the only thing I can say, once you get the information, be prepared to do something with it for us, get it done the right way. Cause you go online, like Sherry said this, I checked the bathrooms, I figured out which one it was, it's a tear, the flapper. We replaced the flapper, but then, anyway, it's easy to just go out and buy a toilet. We definitely one box.
It's amazing how much water you lose.
Yeah,
You know,
because when you leave the house, and you're gone all day long, and just that tearing that flapper, it never resets. It's constantly.
The leak here, that's what we're going
Right then by the flapper.
I bought the flapper, but then I put the flapper, and I got the wrong, anyway.
You got the wrong size.
So I'm
You got
just
the one too big.
Yeah, so.
You gotta get the smaller one.
So, it's just putting new toilet in there.
We think it's a great tool.
Outstanding tool.
It helps us with customer service, so we're kind of selective. We're putting these on, customers that are more interested in their water use right now.
Is that the squeaky wheel one?
And then when we are able to roll out the app, then the customer will be able to monitor itself. It's just a great tool.
Right.
and we're also replacing the master meters that are not functioning, that we've had issues with. So instead of putting the master meter back on, we're able to retrofit
The registers.
the register, so you don't have to pull the meter up around.
The customer doesn't get a stoppage in service, just swap it out.
So far, so good. Very happy with the.
Work. That's it. Sorry.
Thanks, sir. Director of Administration update, Sherry Jim.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we had a total of 10 residential services that were disconnected for non-payment in April. We mailed a total of 183 pending shut-off notices in May. We have a total of 71 door hangers were delivered in May. And we had 889 accounts that were charged a late fee this month. The total amount of penalties that were collected was $5,213.27. And just a reminder, our blood drive is next Thursday, June 5th, from noon to 6 p.m. That's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Public Works update. John Houghton, are you on the phone, sir?
I am. I'll be here to answer any questions you may have on your Public Works report.
Did we get it? I don't think we did.
I don't think it.
Hey, John, Director Washington here.
I think, John, we added did we have the last, especially, we didn't. So if there wasn't a report included in your staff report, that's on us.
Yeah, what there?
So
You don't trust him anymore,
Oh,
John. You have to double check to double check.
John, check the checker of the checker to be.
Yeah, he did. Public Works did submit their report and we did not include it
My
in
apologies.
the packets. So, our apologies. I can tell you there were wonderful pictures in them.
Thank you, John.
Greg, you had a question?
Yeah, we talked earlier in the week about the graffiti issue at Pearson One. Just went crazy down Diamond Street over the weekend. I noticed a lot of the buildings are that chocolate cover. Do you guys coordinate with the business owner over that color, or how does that work? In terms of
What we've been
matching?
doing is, so we don't normally match, it's whatever we have in stock. If the customer themselves has something that they want to donate to us, then we'll match, with what they have, but we just have, whatever we have in stock at the time is what we cover it with.
Okay.
Anybody else? Thank you, John.
Yep.
All right, if there's nothing else for the good of the meeting, we adjourn at 6:53 PM. Thank you.
All right.